What up, crypto peeps? Are you as tired as I am of all the negative crypto headlines? CoinMarketCap looks like the Red Wedding. China is banning everything but the kitchen sink. Tether is secretly run by Bernie Madoff from prison. Does your portfolio look like the time you went to Rite Aid for the green NyQuil and all you found was the red cherry one? South Korea's mining centers are about to be bombed by North Korea. When will this end? I'm so tired of it all. Well, the good news is there's actually a lot to hope for with regards to crypto and Bitcoin. So in the midst of all this red-filled commotion, I'm going to give you 5 reasons to be hopeful for crypto's future and hopefully rekindle the memories of why we got into this thing in the first place. So let's get right into it. Reason number 1, blockchain technology is not going anywhere. This is an undeniable fact. Whether you're completely in tune with the technology or not, whether you fully grasp it, whether you fully understand it or not, whether you're a coder or not, one thing is for sure, blockchain is not going anywhere. Back in the early days of the internet, you didn't have to be an HTML coder or a C++ coder to know that the internet was here to stay. In the same way as blockchain, once you envision the industries that blockchain will affect and you see its benefits, everything from healthcare to payment systems, to using it as a currency, to contracts, to dating apps, to ride sharing, everything will be affected by blockchain, by smart contracts, by cryptocurrency, by the digital ledger in some form or fashion. Just do a quick search and you'll see these headlines. Blockchain is pumping new life into old school companies like IBM and Visa. Bitcoin and blockchains in Davos, Starbucks coin. Here's JP Morgan site, blockchain and distributed ledger. I mean, it's everywhere and it's going to continue to be everywhere. Market theorists estimate that by 2022, blockchain-related services will encompass $7.7 billion. Personally, I think that's a little understated. I think that's a little modest. Look where we are now in 2018. But even if we take that at face value, recognize this, we are the early adopters. We're still in a very young market. This market and this industry are in its infancy, and we are the early adopters. We're the early believers. Yes, even you poor motherfuckers who bought Bitcoin at $19,000 in December, you are still an early believer in blockchain and in Bitcoin. Think of how many mainstream institutions from news to financial markets still ridicule Bitcoin. They still don't understand blockchain. We're in a good spot. Reason number 2, good old supply and demand. You take a look at something like Bitcoin. There will only ever be 21 million Bitcoin ever. And there's a few million of them that are already lost that will never be accounted for. As long as crypto and blockchain are a thing and we've already established that it's not going anywhere, Bitcoin or some iteration of it will still be around. Now, I don't know whether Bitcoin is going to end up being $20,000, $100,000, or will it normalize back to $5,000? That's anybody's guess. But I do know that supply and demand has an effect on the price, and Bitcoin has reached the $20,000 price point in the past. And Bitcoin's dominance in the overall crypto market share is growing smaller, and more cryptocurrencies are growing, and the technology is getting better. Reason number 3, open source. A lot of the important cryptocurrencies are open source, and the code is widely available. And developers are continuing to improve upon the technology, whether it's a layer on top of the blockchain like the Lightning Network, whether it's in the form of hard forks, whether it's in the form of something built on top of Ethereum, whether it's a totally new protocol. Open source allows us to keep progressing this technology. I remember watching an Andreas Antonopoulos video where an audience member had asked him, you know, what if the government somehow puts a stop to Bitcoin in some country, whether it's in the US or another country. But what happens if Bitcoin becomes unusable because of government regulation? And his answer was simply the source code is widely available. If Bitcoin dies today, somebody will reproduce it tomorrow. Somebody will make another Bitcoin tomorrow. And if that dies, then another person will do it. And if that dies, then another person will do it. That was one of the main motivations behind Satoshi Nakamoto's invention. Yes, it was decentralized, but it was also open source. The code was widely available so that it didn't just die with him or them or her. Reason number 4, Wall Street is definitely taking notice. Yes, we had a little bit of good news today with regards to the SEC and Congress meetings. I totally had expected that to be a cryptocurrency trash fest where they blurt out the old tropes about how crypto is a weapon for people who want to hide money or Bitcoin is a weapon for people who want to buy drugs on the deep web. But no, it was actually a fairly level-headed conversation, and they talked about how there wouldn't be a blockchain or digital ledger without Bitcoin. They talked about how important it was to take time with regulating these sort of things because they don't want to discourage people from using it. They addressed the realization that this technology can bring a lot of promise and a lot of good to the world. But back to Wall Street, they're certainly bringing in cryptocurrency into the mainstream equity markets. There are Bitcoin IRAs. Bitcoin futures are going to be hitting NASDAQ soon. Fucking CNBC was trying to teach us how to buy Ripple at $3.30. Trust me when I say this, when the value of any market cap hits in the hundreds of billions of dollars, these fat cats are gonna take notice. They will not stop at trading anything if it makes them money. These fuckers were trading mortgage-backed securities in 2008. Fucking mortgages. For those of you that are still confused, yes, we're talking about people's home loans. They were using that as tradable assets. You don't think these snakes are gonna take notice of the crypto market? Now, there's a few reasons why they haven't hit the crypto market en masse. One, there's no regulation. Two, the methods of getting in and out of crypto are still a little complicated for them. You know, first you gotta get your Litecoin or Ethereum or Bitcoin, take that over to an exchange like Binance. Binance is hosted somewhere in Hong Kong, or there's other exchanges that are hosted in Japan or Sweden or Russia, and then you got to trade in the alts, and then you got to look at the BTC pairings instead of the USD pairings. So it's not quite the same as trading stocks. Believe me, I used to trade stocks for a living for a long time. And lastly, a lot of these guys are sitting on the sidelines waiting for their greedier friends to jump in. We are still a young market, but they're coming. Believe me. You don't believe me? I got 2 words for you. Home loans. Reason number 5 is there are a zillion reasons to be hopeful for crypto. Just open up your favorite crypto news site and take a look at the headlines. Singapore confirms it will not ban cryptocurrency, has no risk concerns. Japanese airline confirms future BTC payment option in the works. US Super Bowl ad uses singer Lionel Richie to advertise BTC futures. Singapore Airlines to launch first blockchain loyalty app among competitors. Major cryptocurrency exchange Bittrex to add USD trading, reopen new user signups. Canada regulators approve country's first blockchain ETF. Kodak postpones ICO to verify accredited status of 40K potential investors. So yes, while there are a ton of negative headlines and negative things going on right now, there's a lot to be hopeful for if you look in the right places. So many people in the mainstream want to shit on our beloved industry and market. But just know, I mean, I'm old enough to remember this is the kind of stuff that happened in the early days of the internet. Just look at old interviews with Jeff Bezos and other internet billionaires now who were ridiculed back in the day by 60 Minutes or by NBC. It's the same thing, but just like always, the mainstream will be late to the game, but they'll eventually come around. With that said, please protect your portfolios. Don't be reckless. Implement proper entry and exit strategies. Know what you're getting into. Don't risk any money that you're not willing to lose overnight. And yeah, so we're gonna be doing a Bitcoin giveaway at 10K. Subscribe here for that. That's the most important part. Subscribe here, hit that bell for the notifications, join the Discord, it's 100% free. Subscribe to the Patreon for the trade alerts and the weekly top picks. Leave a comment, leave your crypto addresses in the comments, leave a thumbs up if you like the video. And remember, I'm not your financial advisor. Stay safe out there in the market. Peace.